Good day to everyone. In the last video, we talked about what is harmful when it comes to stuttering. In this clip, we will talk about what is helpful for overcoming stuttering. So, as you might have already guessed, it's helpful to understand how to make speech comfortable and free, comfortably and naturally, and to master all of this at a habitual level. And for that, again, we need to change our attitude towards sounds, towards vowels, towards consonants, and stop overthinking them. Stop putting unnecessary emphasis on them. Because our stuttering occurs when we think about whether we can or can't, and we start to doubt. And actually, we begin to experience a speech block, which is preceded by a pause in breathing. Because without air, there will be no sound, and therefore there will be no speech. And actually, we begin to create a speech stupor, which is preceded by a stop in breathing. Because without air, there will be no sound, and therefore there will be no speech. Also, what is helpful to do to overcome stuttering? It's helpful to speak, not just by learning at a slowed pace, like using crutches, because you can really overcome stuttering. Some centers, some programs use a slowed speech technique where you kind of don't stutter, but it feels uncomfortable for you. That's not really helpful. Because you know that you're masking it, you're giving in to stuttering. You know that if you let go of that slowed pace, you'll have it. So it's helpful to develop your speech at your own pace, at your own comfortable pace, and do it regardless of your emotions. And by the way, the next point we have is about emotions. What is helpful to do? It's helpful to learn to speak based on your emotions. Because we all know that there are places that make you feel anxious. To avoid stuttering, you need to be very calm. You need to try not to worry, not to get nervous, to speak steadily, like this all the time, and everywhere, in order to at least minimize your stuttering as much as possible. But that's life. We can't always speak like that. We're not robots, we're humans, we're alive. We need emotions. We need normal characteristics of our speech. If our speech is conditionally free, I call it conditional, because it's not completely free within the framework of slowed speech, then it's not really a good result that you need to hold on to. And even more so, it's not the kind of result that your brain will want to keep permanently. Because our consciousness also, in a way, understands what it likes and what it doesn't like. And if you're using some solutions, but you understand, and others around you understand that it's like bending, it's not normal. Either the pace is slowed down, or you start to really push on the stressed syllables. Someone is doing a duet in the theater, you talk like that, or you change your voice. It's not normal, so the brain won't accept it. All of this should be memorized at the level of habit. And actually, most likely, in the near future, over time, they will just give up on this idea of continuing to work to speak in that manner. Next, what's helpful for stuttering is to look at other successful experiences and cases and understand what they needed. To get rid of stuttering, what did they do? To achieve good, stable results, it's useful to listen to audio recordings from those students who have already analyzed what they managed to overcome, how they did it, and what they will do with it next. To get rid of stuttering, what did they do? In order for them to have good, stable results, it is useful to listen to audio recordings from those students who are already analyzing what they were able to overcome, how they did it, and what they will do with it next. All these recordings, for example, are available in my program Breakthrough. Many recordings from various students who have already shown very good progress and are simply sharing their experiences. Just a few hours, mind you. Naturally, such keyboard information will always be useful to look at another experience, on a few more experiences of overcoming stuttering. What is useful to do next when dealing with stuttering? It's useful not to seek treatment, but to learn, because speech is primarily a skill. It's useful not to look for some kind of pill, but it's useful to figure things out, analyze, your speech errors in terms of cause and effect relationships in order to correct them. To understand the true cause of stuttering, to realize, there your hunger has stopped. Why? Aha! Because of logophobia, sometimes it happens consciously, and sometimes unconsciously too. Stuttering often happens literally, reflexively, unconsciously. It's all because we've done this thousands of times before. Naturally, the brain and the body have memorized all of this and unfortunately use it. But the good news is that there's no need to get upset. This is something you can and should work on. And it's also helpful not to get upset if something isn't working out for you. For example, during the course or even some independent therapy, because that's also possible, don't get upset. Why? Because if you get upset, for example, halfway through, you'll give up and you won't make it to the end of the road. And no one will drag you there. I mean, it would be one thing if stuttering were some kind of disease, which is like resolved through surgical intervention. So doctors take you, the orderlies, they take you, carry you away, you didn't make it, they brought you to the finish line. No, if you give up, you won't make it to the finish line. You won't fully feel what it means to be free and comfortable, which is a great thing, so you shouldn't give up. As great people have said, a multitude of mistakes and wrong actions separate us from global success, which we keep making. And in the end, we find the right action that gives us results, and we are satisfied with it. For that to happen, we just need to keep going. It's helpful not to stop. And we ultimately find the right action that gives us a result, and we are satisfied with it. In order for this to happen, you just need to keep going. It's helpful not to stop. And to wrap up this short video, I wish for you to take more helpful actions to overcome stuttering. And, in fact, realizing the futility and even harmfulness of dangerous actions, we tried to stay away from them. I also consider working on attention to be helpful, because when we are alone with ourselves, we don't stutter. Our speech becomes comfortable. Why? But why do we start to get nervous, worry, fidget, reflect, tense up and freeze when communicating with someone? Why? Everything is about our attention. We need to work on it. It's useful work, so we don't get distracted by branches. It's not useful to work with hypnotists, but rather with attention. And it's also helpful to work on physical mistakes. Yes, because the problem of stuttering is not just about attention, it's also in the body. Yes, so it's about the airflow, so who stops it? You stop yourself. No one stops for you, near you. Yes, it happens somewhat reflexively, by reflex, impulsively, but still. In the end, you allow yourself to stop, and then you push yourself to get going again. You're getting distracted. It's all about independent action. Of course, it will be helpful. Good job with breathing, for example, specifically learning not to stop your airflow. The flow of exhaled air while performing your speech task. In fact, there are many useful things for getting rid of stuttering that you can't explain in one short video. And it's also helpful to believe that if you want something and take the right actions towards your dream, you will definitely achieve it. Because without faith, it definitely won't happen.